I'm Max Unfried. I'm a research fellow at the National University of Singapore, and my research is on aging, lipids, and complex systems.
So, could you tell us about your research?
Sure. So what I've been working on is you've heard about like all those different kind of clocks here, especially at the conference, and you have obviously different kind of omics. You have like metabolomics and proteomics, and a lot of clocks have been built on that. I've been working on lipids, and lipids is like this class of molecules that's like very heterogeneous. They're often classified as like being not really soluble in water. So butter are lipids, like that's your fatty acids, your oils, but that's only a very small subclass of them. Like your hormones, like steroid hormones, testosterone, estrogen are lipids, sphingomyelin, ceramides. There are like more than 350 classes of them, and a few of them we have just been able to research them in the last few years because the technology wasn't available to measure all of them. And what I've been working on using those data sets that have like those lipidomics and build predictors for aging on them. Um, what we mainly did is we actually took data from pathogenic cohorts, people with pancreatic cancer, and thought if we and try to build a model that can actually predict mortality of those cancer patients. With the idea is that maybe there's like similar dynamics in mortality between cancer and aging, and that once we have a clock train of mortality on cancer people, that could also used to predict age in healthy people. That was the hypothesis. And what we actually showed, you can indeed use cohorts full of pathogenic people, and there's like still a strong enough mortality and aging signal in there that actually can predict the aging rate and biological age of people that are healthy or have other diseases. And it all still fits like with a certain ratios that make biological sense. And what that in a way enables for the biomarkers field is most people only work on a small cohorts of 5 to 20,000 people that are kind of healthy, right? But what we can now do, we can actually go to the cancer people and tell them, hey guys, you've been collecting data the last 50 years. You have like this massive cancer databases. And can we actually have a look at them, or can we use them and build aging clocks on them and see then how well they work and what is actually the real connection between cancer and aging?
And how do you see the field progressing over the next 5 to 10 years?
Um, I guess there are like two different kinds of the field. There's like the lipidomic field and there's like the aging biomarker field, right? I think lipidomics has a really good time currently. And if you think about like 40 years, 50 years ago, a lot of people were working on lipids. That's how we find the cholesterols and whatnot, right? Then there was like this time where not that many people focused them anymore because technology was not there to, in a way, visualize them or detect them properly. And now the last 10 years, technology in measuring lipids has become much better. And now I would say lipidomics is where like proteomics was like 15 years ago. So like not much more funding is going in there, much more people enjoy it. So we will have more good data sets with high quality lipidomics. Obviously, relating that to the aging biomarkers field, where the trend is currently like into multi-omics clocks, right? That you not only use epigenetics or proteomics, but you try to combine them. And the biomarker consortium is talking about that as well to add metabolomics and lipidomics to their panels and get like a more holistic view of the entire process. And I think lipids have to play a role in there because we know they're like important for inflammation. We know lipid membranes change with age, right? And if you look about it, that without lipids, there would be no multicellular life because without lipids, you wouldn't have like a lipid bilayer, you wouldn't have like a membrane, and like in a way, like the lipids in this case, like a country that has a strong border, they have like provide a strong border for the cell, and there are like no intruders then that can harm the cell from the outside. So I think they have a role to play within aging, and being able to measure them better is probably useful.
Is there anything in particular that has you most excited about the field of biomarkers?
Um, I think generally what is good at people start thinking or realizing that we need much bigger data sets, because the problem is always when you work with data, it's very easy to create a good model that's like 90 or 95% of the time correct, right? But if you really talk about medicine, you need models that are 99.9999% correct. It's similar to self-driving cars, right? You can't build your self-driving car that is like 95% good, but nobody would let it on the road, right? So to have the full product, getting to the level where you can use it, you have to need much larger accuracy. And I think people start realizing that. And I just had a conversation with somebody, and I said somebody probably should raise global funds, 10 billion, and say we build like a global database of like say 2, 3, 4 million people that are fully profiled, because then you actually have like a data set that kind of captures all the biology of all the different humans, different ethnicities, different eating habits, that actually then probably is representative and actually can make it to the clinic. And I would think that's actually the largest obstacle, but it's also like the largest opportunity or the most exciting thing to do. If you really get this data set that is so large that you actually can cover all of the population and build reliable models.
Now, given that we're at the Biomarkers of Aging Conference, is there a single biomarker that you think has the most value?
Um, I think it's visual. It's like if a girl looks young and good, she's probably young. So it's like I would go visual. From a molecular standpoint, I always say it's like they're all science projects, and a lot of them are scientific projects that are pitched as uh, that are more advanced than they are. So I'm always like a little bit skeptical. Um, I think they're fun to play around with. I think it's an interesting endeavor. What I probably think is interesting so far here is like this CP-GTP. So using like those transformer large language models and setting them loose um, on methylation sites. I think that's a good start. That's like the first. And I mean, if you look at those large language models, have helped in other parts are being explored to be better for interpretation and understanding. So I think that's not a biomarker per se, but like a new methodology that for like one of the parts where there's enough data to be used. And I think that's really going to be fruitful. Also, probably getting the people from the AI field more excited in it now that we use their methodology and sending it to other data.
And if people want to learn more about your research and your work on lipid clocks, where would they find you?
I guess Twitter or X is the best, and it's at Max Unfried, unfried like unfried chicken. And yeah, you can follow me there, and sometimes I post about it.
Thank you for your time.
Perfect.
It
Hey,
was great
hi, Joseph.
speaking.
Thank you very much.
My
Fantastic.
pleasure.